Welcome to Quarantine. In today's Math and Science show, we have a special guest. We are interviewing a scientist who is named Raven, the Science Maven. We'll bring her on in just a few minutes. But before we do, I want to remind you about our art prompt and our engineering challenge from yesterday. So yesterday's art prompt was to create a map, and the challenge was to make a money swapper. I had several questions come in asking how to make this, so I'm going to demonstrate it one more time right at the beginning of this show. So you start out with a flat piece of cardboard or a book. Any flat item will work. And then you're going to tape 4 ribbons or strings to it. 2 of them you want to go straight across. Whoops, these are the ones I want to go straight across. Ah, my tape is getting all stuck. 2 of them go straight across. And then the other 2 are going to form an X. And it's really important that your X is on the inside of your tape. And then once you have it set up like that, you're going to bring another piece of cardboard over the top. And then you want to put your tape onto the other cardboard. So there's your X. And we've got another piece of tape here to make sure that this one stays. And now our money swapper is made, and you can totally present this as a magic trick or a little joke. It's a lot of fun. So here's how it works. You put a dollar bill in, and then you say, I can make it switch from the X to the one that just has the 2 lines just by closing this and then opening it up, and it swaps. But the cool thing is that it's not necessarily the dollar bill that is swapping, it's the ribbons that change place. Because if we leave this one like this, you can see that it goes from an X to the lines over. Isn't that cool?
But I would say if you want it to be more mysterious, close it, flip it over, and then reopen it. And
then that hides the fact that the dollar bill is staying in the same place.
That's right. Because you can just keep reopening, reclosing, and yeah, it's to take a little bit of work and maybe some tighter ribbons or something than we have here. But
yes, I did want to share that real quick at the beginning, and then also mention that we have a fantastic art showcase that we will be doing at the end, because we had so many people like Ezra who sent in their treasure maps that they made. This one has Camp Half-Blood, and it has the river Styx and the dog guarding it, and some really fun imagery there. Now, a special welcome to those of you who are watching live and if you're watching in the replay. So thank you to Space Queen, Deb, Dementa, Felix, Steez, Logan, Jay, hey, it's Corgi. It is so good to see you guys here. And I thought it might be fun because we have our guest kind of waiting here off screen to sort of introduce you guys to her. We know from a survey that we did last week, earlier this week, that more than 800 people answered that we have a lot of families watching. And 4th, 5th, 3rd, and 6th grade and 2nd grade, those are the most common grades people are in, but we have a lot of college graduates, high school graduates watching as well, and a lot of middle schoolers. So just for fun, in the chat, type down a number for the grade that you're in, or if you are a college graduate, you can type down a C, or actually let's just do G. G for graduated. If you've graduated from high school or college, write down a G. And then Raven will get an idea of who is watching and what the ages are. And then to bring her on, we're going to share a pretty cool little video she did, because she has a YouTube channel as well. I'm seeing a lot of 5s, 7, 4, 3, several Gs for people who are graduated.
6s.
3, 2, 5, 6, and G, a whole family watching. Hello to people from Michigan. 3, 3, 3, 1, 3. The chat is filling up right now. A whole bunch of 5s. We've got a bunch of 5th graders watching. And this is pretty exciting to see you guys. 9th grade, 4th grade, graduated. Kindergarten. So we've got people watching from kindergarten to 9th grade to graduated from college and high school. And the guest that we're going to bring on today, I asked her if it would be okay if I shared just this quick clip from a video she did, because not only is she a scientist who is currently getting her PhD and has worked in a wide variety of jobs, but she also does some amazing music. So I am going to share my screen with you real fast so that you can see a little clip of Raven before we bring her on. make sure that I'm sharing the large screen. There we go. And we'll play just a few seconds of this fantastic song.
Lights off, wipe it down, Clorox, wipe it down, lights off, wipe it down, Clorox, wipe it down, wash your body, wash your hair, and wash your hands too. Get some soap, scrub it down, and show me how you do it. Lights off, wipe it down, Clorox, wipe it down, lights off, wipe it down, Clorox, wipe it down, wash your body, wash your hair, and wash your hands too. Get some soap, scrub it down, and show me how you do it. I ain't trying to catch the virus, you can.
All right, everyone give some claps for Raven, the science maven. We are so happy to have you here with us today, Raven.
Hi, Science Mom, Math Dad. Thank you so much for having me. This is so exciting.
With those pants, this periodic table pants, is that
Yeah.
what I was seeing there?
Absolutely, yes.
That was cool.
I love science gear.
So that little song is awesome. And that's not the only one I've seen you do. On your Instagram page, all the time, you're doing these really cool little dances and songs that are all about science. So let's start off. I think first, I know that our audience really just wants to hear about what science was like for you as a kid and how you got into science. So tell us just a little bit about yourself, where you grew up, and how you became a scientist.
Sure. So I'm from Buffalo, New York, which is nowhere near New York City. A lot of people hear New York and they think, oh, you know, how's Times Square? How's this? How's that? I live 6 hours away from that, all the way on the other side of the state, near Canada. And so, you know, my life, you know, I grew up in a pretty regular town, middle-sized town, and everybody pretty much knows each other. And I started my journey in science just looking at the sky. To be honest, I was very curious about clouds. Clouds were my first major like scientific interest, and I would just lay on the grass. I'm looking outside my window. I would lay on the grass and just stare at the sky, and I realized that, you know, on different days, clouds would look a little different from one another. And then I did a little research. I looked in books at the library, and I found out that each of the different cloud shapes had different names, and with the different cloud shapes came different weather. So some of the big storm clouds that you see, those are called cumulonimbus clouds, and they often bring thunder, lightning, rain, and things like that. And so I got really interested in studying weather, and then eventually I learned everything I could about weather, and I wanted to go further out into outer space. So I eventually went to space camp in Huntsville, Alabama. I don't know, has anybody in the chat? I would love to know if anyone's in the chat been to space camp. Space camp's really fun.
We have a few people in the chat who said that they are also from Buffalo, New
Oh,
York.
are you serious?
Yeah.
That's pretty crazy. I didn't see that. That's so
Yep.
cool. Well,
So,
go Bills. Woo woo, go Bills. We're really big Bills fans here. And so I went to space camp in Huntsville, Alabama. I recommend that everyone in the chat checks it out because they have programs for people of all ages, from very young students to people who have graduated and beyond, for grown-ups. So check that out. And I actually found out I was afraid of heights at space camp. So you can imagine, you know, my career interest shifted a little bit once I realized I was definitely not going to be going in anybody's rocket ship. Go to space, and but my interest in science never went away. I still pursued, like, you can still learn about space without having to go to space. There's a lot of career fields, but I eventually went to college for environmental science, and that's kind of how my youth science career started.
Awesome. We have some great questions coming in the chat. And I want to just give a quick thank you to Science Mom Liza, who is moderating for us on YouTube, and Science Mom Krista, who is moderating on Facebook. They are going to be gathering these questions, and we will do a Q&A with Raven as soon as we hear just a little bit more about how she became a scientist. And I love that you shared just curiosity about clouds, bringing you into science.
Yeah.
Because I think that's the great thing about science. It provides us answers to questions that we have. So
Right.
Tell us a little bit more about how you became, because you've worked in many different scientific fields. So how did you get your training, and where did you go to college?
Sure. So I actually I graduated from high school when I was 16 years old, which is a little bit earlier than most people do. And I went away to college at 16. I majored in environmental science because I was very interested in preventing climate change, and I was interested in creating laws that would help to protect our planet. And being that I was so young and away from school so early, I guess in my adulthood, I mean, I really wasn't even an adult. I was 16. I didn't do that well because I wasn't ready to handle like the high level work that's expected of you when you go to college. And so I found out that I really needed my parents. Really needed my parents' help just learning, better study skills and how to be a responsible student. So I came home and I went to a different school, and I also changed my major to biology. And I think that was a really great move for me because I found what I was really passionate about, which was like studying very small things that you can't see. My whole
Mm.
life, I was really interested in big things, like clouds are huge, space is gigantic. It's infinitely large. But I found out when I changed my major to biology that I was really interested in molecules and atoms and like things that are around us all the time that we can't see, and things that you need like a microscope to see as well. So, I ended up getting a bachelor's degree in biology, which is the degree you get once you finish college. And I actually went straight into get another degree right after that because I was still a little young. I was 20 when I finished college, and I really was afraid to kind of be a big adult with real responsibilities. So I ended up going back to school for my graduate degree. And by the time I finished my master's degree in biology, I was ready to start a career in cancer research.
Ooh.
Yeah, I was so excited. I spent my entire, well, after I finished, changed my major to biology, everything that I did from that point on was learning about biology and how cells work and how molecules work inside of cells. And so I was able to use all that knowledge to translate that into a career as a cancer research scientist.
Tell us just a little bit more about what a cancer research scientist does, because that sounds, I'm a cancer survivor, and I know that several of our viewers watching in the chat are as well. And it's a disease that is really horrible, and the treatments are really difficult. So tell us a little bit more about that work. I imagine that's really rewarding and exciting, but also challenging.
Yes, it comes with a lot of responsibility. The stages of research that I would work at would be the preclinical stages. So I was responsible for creating the medicines, or at least finding what medicines could work on different types of cancer. So we actually worked with a lot of robots to do this job.
Robots.
So to do this research in a fast way, you can put different types of cancer cells into a robot, and the robot can test thousands of different types of medicines on each of those cells to narrow down which medicine would be the best medicine for potentially treating that cancer. And then from those results, we're able to then pass that information on to people who are responsible for testing that on humans or potentially animals, depending on how the study is structured.
That is fascinating. And tell us just a little bit more about the whole process of developing a new medicine. Because if you do this little pre-test, where you have your robots and you put all these different compounds, let's say one of them just obliterates the cancer cells. Does that mean that then you take that and then you put it in people and you call it medicine?
No, definitely not.
Why not?
Because when you're working with cells, cells, they're living, they are a representation of life, but they're the simplest form of life. In humans, people, we're extremely complex. We have multiple body systems: digestive, nervous. We have the circulatory, respiratory. We have our lymphatic system. all of these systems work together. You know, there's more systems that I haven't named, but they all work together to keep us alive. And so when you're testing on just a cell, you don't know how that medicine, it might kill the cancer cell, but if you put it in a human, it could kill potentially brain cells. It could kill your bone cells, your muscle cells. And you don't know that if you're just testing it on one type of cell. So there are some ways that we can figure that out when we're doing the research, but by no means do you ever just go straight from testing on cells to testing on humans. Like there's a few steps that go in between.
And you've got to be careful to make sure that you know what side effects are going to happen and that the side effects are not worse than the medicine.
Absolutely. Right.
Yeah. I'm going to pause for just a couple questions because we had a really great one come in. Joanna asked, if you had to pick one biologist you would encourage students to read or learn about, who would you recommend? This is a tough question.
That is tough. Well, I know that somebody right now who's very relevant. Her name is Kizzy Corbett. And
Kizzy Corbett? Mm-hmm. How do you spell that?
That's her nickname, Kizzy, but Kizzy is her first name. Corbett, Corbett is her last name. And she is leading the vaccine research right now for COVID-19.
Ooh.
And she is a biologist that I think that everybody should be aware of because she's doing very special work.
Awesome. And the other thing that we are just getting the chat full of is that everyone wants Math Dad to sing his song for you, and then for you to join either camp in favor of Math Dad's song or camp Math Dad's song is a little annoying. So no pressure.
Oh, okay. I'm singing a song, I don't know the words. I don't know the words to this song. I'm singing it loud and I'm singing it long, but I don't know the words to this song. No, I don't know the words to this song.
On a car trip one time when we were driving a really long distance, and I was like, oh man, it's in my head, it's annoying, don't sing it again. And it's kind of become a thing. He sings it every single episode. So what's your verdict?
You know what? I think it's great.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Great. High five.
Woo.
Yeah, and creativity is fine with me.
It's quite popular in the chat as well. In fact, I do get tired of the song, but I wore my Math Dad song shirt today just as a show of solidarity.
Perfect. I love it.
Can you tell us a little bit about the research you're doing now? Because right now you're not doing cancer research, you're doing a different type of research that I think is also super important and can change lives. Tell us a bit about it.
Yeah, so I think that it's really important for everyone to know that there's really no one straight path that everyone takes in their life. And I've explored things when I was becoming a scientist, right? Like, as I told you, I was excited about weather. I was excited about school. I was excited about the environment. I was excited about cells and cancer research and molecules. And, I explored each and every one of those fields on my own. And I'm really happy that I did that. But now I'm exploring in the education field. And so as a cancer researcher, we work in a lab every day. It's great work. It's amazing work because we contribute so much to the field. We learn so much, right? I was working on a different project every month, and sometimes those projects had nothing to do with each other, and I had to learn completely new skills and techniques, but I didn't like being in a lab all day, right? I'm very much a social person. I love to talk to people. I don't really like doing the same thing, every single day. And I also like to teach. So I decided to go into the education field because, I thought that I would be a great science educator. And so I taught at a community college. I became a biology professor. And it ended up being super fun. I don't know are there any people in the chat who want to be teachers when they grow up? I definitely want to know. But yeah, so right now I'm getting a doctorate in science education, and I am studying how what we see on TV and the internet, in the media, affects how people associate with science. And
Ooh.
specifically, I want to know, like, how do representations of scientists in the media affect how people associate and identify with science? So, for me, oh, go ahead, Science Mom.
Oh, real quick, I just wanted to say we have quite a few people in the chat saying that either they are teachers or they want to be teachers. So Christine, Heather, King Crab, David, or not, Nathan,
Nathan,
Steve. So yeah, lots of potential teachers in our chat today.
Oh, yay! That's so fantastic. I'm hoping that we can improve compensation and pay and benefits for teachers by the time that you guys become teachers. And I feel like there's a lot of us really working on that right now. So, just try to keep your dreams alive, and don't let people talk you out of what you want to do, because
Yes.
we're really trying hard to make sure that our future teachers are treated well, right?
Right. And quick shout out to Fred, who says he's finishing his master's with the goal of becoming a professor. So awesome.
Cool. Wow, congratulations. I love that. Yeah, so I mean, what I've found in my research is that I interviewed 40 women, 40 African American women, and they almost all of them, 98% of the 40 women that I interviewed said that they don't relate to what they believe is the most common portrayal of a scientist. And that's really concerning, because there's a lot of research that shows that when students can relate to their teachers, that there's better learning outcomes. So once we start to create more science content, and we want to start teaching new generations of scientists, it's really important that we diversify representation so that we can make sure the students who are watching the digital media can connect with the teacher.
Yeah.
So it's, I'm really excited about the research, because like Science Mom, I'm really excited about teaching science and creating science content on YouTube and on Instagram, and now I'm on TikTok. So I'm really hoping to kind of, provide more inspiration to a broader group of individuals. So we're all really excited.
That's awesome. And tell us, how did you get the name Raven the Science Maven?
Gosh, Raven the Science Maven. So, I mean, I'm gonna be honest, I kind of just came up with it in like a minute. I remember sitting in the car and I was like, I need to make a name for myself, because if you guys don't know, I think most of you are a little young, but there's a TV show called That's So Raven. And That So Raven came out when I was 10 years old. But That's So Raven, her name is Raven Baxter on the television show.
Oh, and that's your name too.
And that's my name. So just imagine I'm 10 years old and this girl comes on TV and says, I'm Raven Baxter. And I'm like, wait a second.
So that means your future search engine optimization is just tanked.
So if you Google Raven Baxter, I don't come up yet, but I'm like on a mission to change it. I'm trying. But so I couldn't really just go by Raven Baxter, because then it would just be like a running joke that That's So Raven is now a scientist. And I didn't want that. So, Raven the Science Maven, not a lot of words rhyme with Raven. I mean, shaven, Maven, nothing good, right? But Maven actually means an expert in a subject matter. And because I had a graduate degree in science, I literally mastered biology. And so I considered myself a science maven. And Raven the Science Maven was born. And, it's kind of a play on Bill Nye the Science Guy, just a little bit. But it just turned out to be a really fun name.
That is great. Now, Mathad is ready with a whole bunch of questions. We'll sort of open up into Q&A now.
Okay.
All right, so this question, or variations on it, were actually pretty common. So how many cells do you actually need to extract DNA? That's an experiment we did. We extracted DNA a week or two ago, and can you do it from just a few cells? Is that possible, or what do you need?
That's a good question. I've never tested this, so I don't have an official answer. And I also, I mean, as far as the number goes, I mean, you need a decent chunk, especially if you want to get in. It depends on the purposes. Like if you want to sequence the DNA, you would need a different amount. If you're just trying to isolate DNA, I feel like you, depending on the tools you have, you may or may not need a lot. But I used to isolate DNA from gallons of cells. So I've worked on a large scale. In fact, the cells I used to extract DNA from were E. coli. Let me see in the chat if you know what E. coli is, but it doesn't smell that great. It doesn't smell great at all. It's actually, it makes up a lot of your feces or poop. I don't know what these are.
We talked about E. coli a couple of weeks ago when we did germs.
Okay, great. Awesome. So,
yeah, these kids ask tough questions, so yeah. All right. What did you do at space camp?
Oh my gosh, space camp was so interesting. So let me just say that space camp was a week-long sleep-away camp. So my mom, parents dropped me off, plop, and they left. And I was stuck there for a week with a whole bunch of kids from all around the world, Australia, China, South America, and then other places in the US. And we all, they split us up, boys and girls, and the girls slept in one sleeping quarters and bunk beds in one room, and the boys did the same in another place. And this was before like wireless anything. I had to use a calling card to call my mom on the payphone. So I was really like isolated, and we couldn't bring any food in. We had to eat space food the whole time. And
like dehydrated space food?
Like me, for the most part, yeah. We like I ate a lot of Dippin' Dots. Sorry, Mom, if you're watching. My whole diet at space camp was Dippin' Dots. But yeah, so every day we went on a space mission. And I think one of the most exciting parts about space camp was they had a full size or a portion of a full sized spaceship, and they also had a mission control next to the spaceship, and we would do mock space missions,
simulations.
Yeah, simulations.
Yeah. How fun!
And we could all do different like parts of the team. So if you wanted to do the countdown, you could do that. If you wanted to drive the spaceship, you could do that. If you wanted to do experiments on the spaceship. It was so much fun. We learned how to fly a spacecraft. We rode on rides like a G-force machine that spins you around really fast to imitate takeoff. Yeah, I mean, you guys need to like look it up. It's such a cool thing, and they have scholarships in case you need some assistance.
Hopefully, it's something that will be happening again soon, because that sounds awesome.
Yeah, super cool.
All right, they were asking, do you know who Greta Thunberg is?
I do. She's an advocate for earth-friendly practices, I believe. Am I correct?
Yep.
Okay,
That's the one. Yep.
Yeah.
You talked about you wanting to save the planet, and that question started showing up.
Yeah, I'm really glad that young people are having a big voice. It's important to listen to young people.
Yeah. Well. Is it hard being a woman in your field?
Is it hard being a woman? For me, no, because I'm very much a rule breaker in a good way. I like to break the rules in a good way that don't hurt people and that don't hurt people's feelings or anything. But some other people really do feel like the rules that are imaginary and don't really exist in science kind of prevent people from really expressing themselves the way that they would like to, depending on the way they talk, the way they dress, or how they socialize. There's a lot of things that put pressure on women in this field to be a certain way. And so when I say I break the rules, I really try not to let that pressure affect me. And I like to just be creative and do my own thing, which is why you see me on YouTube. I'm making science music and fun science songs and dancing and things like that, because that's how I feel like I can be happy as a scientist.
So are there lots of other women molecular biologists?
Yes. Oh, there's so many.
Okay.
There's so many. Yes.
And I love that you pointed out that not every scientist has to be the same. Because I think sometimes if you look at a field and you sort of see like, okay, most people are acting this way, then you think I need to act that way too. But you can be a scientist and still be you. Whatever it is that you like, you can bring that with you as you study.
Yeah, I think, if there's anything that you guys take away from me being here today, I just would like to say that you continue being yourself. Even if other people might call you weird or different or strange or, whatever, as long as you are happy with being you and doing what makes you happy, that's all that matters. And as far as being a scientist goes, as long as you love science, you can be a scientist. That's really it.
Oh, that's great advice. I've got to say, the kids really loved your glasses.
Oh, wow. Thank
Yep.
you.
All right. Your favorite animal?
My favorite animal is I love frogs and toads
Ooh.
and catching them if I can get them fast enough.
Amphibians are great. And do you have a pet?
I do have a pet. I have two pets. Just two. Sorry, not four. Two. I have a kitten who is basically invisible because he's afraid of everything, so he hides. And I have a really fun dog. She is she's very loyal and loving and quiet. So I have two pets. Yeah.
Excellent.
Nice. Yeah. In the chat or in past days, we've polled people, and it turns out dogs have been slightly more popular than cats. But
there are a lot of people who like both, including me and Raven. We like both.
I do love both. Yes.
All right. Last couple of questions. Tell us the research that you're doing now. Where are you studying? Like, what organization are you working with? A couple people asked that.
I am at the University at Buffalo, also known as UB, and that's where I'm getting my doctorate in science education.
And what is the thing that you most hope will happen because of your research that you're doing right now?
Oh, I'm really hoping that I can change science culture as a whole and make an academic just a academic argument for why it's so important to just let people be themselves and have representations of different people on screen as scientists, on TV, on the internet, and make it a priority for people who are making shows to entertain children to feature a lot of different kinds of people, and not just in their difference in their appearance, but also different personalities, different talents, different values. So I would just love to see more diversity in the science culture.
I love that. That's great. And
I don't know if we shared her YouTube channel name, or I missed it if we did.
oh, what? Tell us. Yes, tell us where we can find you. So your YouTube channel name and what other places you are.
Sure, you can find me everywhere on the internet as Raven, the Science Maven. If you Google me, I come up, and you can just click everything. I don't think it's that hard to find me. But if you're on YouTube, you can type in Raven the Science Maven, or if you want to type it in the address bar, it's youtube.com/Raven the Science Maven.
Awesome. And then I know we are having a lot of requests to see your pets, but I know it might be difficult to go grab your cat and your dog now, but we're having requests to sing. So
dog is right here. But
oh, your dog's right here?
Want to see my dog? I could get
Yes. Show us your dog.
Here, hold on.
And then while you're getting your dog, Victoria wants to know if you have a favorite science subject.
There she is.
Oh, she's so cute.
Thanks. Now she's in here with me. Oh boy.
So do you have a favorite science subject?
My favorite science subject is, gosh, that's the hardest question of the day.
It is a hard question. Maybe pick like top 3.
Okay. Favorite science subject. So maybe like topics in science. The acrosome reaction. One.
The acrosome reaction?
Yes. Let's see.
Tell us just a little more. What is this acrosome reaction?
You guys are gonna have to look it up. I don't know if I can explain it. Acrosome. I can say maybe I like to learn about viruses and also protein folding.
Protein folding.
Protein
Awesome.
folding.
I like that you picked protein folding because it's amazing what can happen as proteins fold. It's not just the sequence of DNA or the sequence of amino acids that matters. It's how they fold makes a big difference.
Yes, that's what my entire graduate research project was about.
Awesome.
Protein fold. So yeah, but the acrosome reaction, I think you guys should look that up. That's like pretty cool, and I think you would learn a lot.
Definitely, I'll be looking that one up. And then last question, Farah asks, what advice would you give to people who want to be a scientist?
Great. Also a hard question. There's so much, and I won't talk for too long, but as I said earlier, don't be afraid to be yourself. And I guess the second most important piece of information is don't give up. I failed. I literally failed so many classes, as a student, and for various reasons. Most of the reasons being because I wasn't studying the right way. And, I wasn't getting enough sleep. So, once I kind of figured all that out, I did such a good job. I retook all those classes. I got A's the second time. And, I never, just because I didn't do well the first time, I knew in my heart that didn't mean that I was a bad scientist. It just meant that I needed to figure out what didn't work well for me and improve that and then try again. And I was successful the second time. So, and that's really what science is all about. Scientists, they don't get it right all the time. That's why we do experiments, is because things fail and then we have to go back and try it again and then do it all over again. And we learn from our failures so that we can do better the next time. So that's my next advice, is just don't give up, even when you fail.
Well, I love that you shared that, because I think it's so important for people to know their time management, and especially when you go away to college for the first time, that's a whole nother piece of the puzzle that you're dealing with. And it's not whether or not we fail, it's how we respond to that failure that matters.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm sure everybody in the chat can think about a time, even if it doesn't have to do with school. Maybe you were like trying to learn how to ride your bike. Can you think about how many times you fell and maybe skinned your knees or got like a wound on your body? But I bet like maybe now you know how to ride a bike really well. Maybe, with the helmet, you could even do it with no hands. I know I used to be able to do that, but don't tell your mom and dad.
And then very last, and I know this is a really big request, because when you post your song videos on YouTube or on TikTok or on Instagram, you're able to add in background music and you're able to do multiple takes. It's very different to do something live. But do you have maybe just some short little fun science? It doesn't have to be like a full song, but some little rhyming, something that you could leave with us.
I can, let me think. I wish I had my lyrics up here on my screen. I'll do, maybe I can sing or rap the COVID-19, the verse for you guys. Okay.
That would be awesome. And I'd say if you're watching, you can get out of your seat and you can move around.
Okay. I ain't trying to catch the virus. You can call me on my wireless. Scientists up in the lab all day and we've been working tireless. Quarantine, that's the thing, while we're making vaccines, because you ain't gonna catch me slipping on no breathing machine. We gotta cancel everything. Yep, cancel everything. Hold it down in your house. Call it social distancing. Get out each other's space, limiting the visiting. Let me tell you what we know about COVID-19. It's a virus with a corona, a crown like a queen. Spreads around in crowds, infects human beings in little droplets that form in coughs and sneezes. We're still learning about the new diseases. Take a bath and rap like Joseph Simmons. Run on a treadmill, work your fitness. Do what you gotta do, don't pass the sickness. Just stay up in your house and mind your business. So that was the verse from the COVID-19 song that went viral.
That is awesome. Thank you so much. For everybody in the chat watching live now, please give some claps for Raven, the science maven. And if you're watching the replay, please drop a little comment and just say thank you. We are so happy that you were able to join us today.
Oh, I'm so excited to be here. And like everybody in the chat is so positive. I just want to say good job to all the students and the parents and families for staying strong while we're all at home. Science Mom and Math Dad are doing amazing things. And I just thank you for supporting science and supporting science education. And thank you, Science Mom and Math Dad, for doing this for everybody. I hope everybody's enjoying the content, and feel free to check me out as well if you find me. I'd love to have you guys on my channel. You guys are awesome. Oh my gosh.
Yes, yes. Yep, definitely check her out. You can find her on all social media platforms. And thank you again.
Of course.
You have a wonderful weekend.
Yeah, thank you. It's really cool.
Stay safe and healthy, and stay at home, please.
That's right.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Oh, that was fantastic.
Indeed, I really like that advice. It's okay to fail, because, man, I think all the greatest scientists in the past have this huge pile of things they tried that failed, yet they just kept persisting. And yeah, not giving up is one of those qualities that's kind of hard to teach, kind of hard to learn too, because we don't take failure well. I often don't. I was like, oh, I messed up, I'm not going to do that anymore. But
it can be discouraging, and that's a natural reaction when you try something and it doesn't work, or if you go to college and you fail a class. There's a lot of just a natural reaction of disappointment and discouragement you have that kind of makes you stop. And that pause is important so that then you can examine the failure and figure out how to do better.
I would say for my students, so like teaching math at the college level, so many people come in and say, oh, I don't like math. I could never do math. And it's all because they kind of just gave up because of some bad experiences that they had at some level, maybe elementary school, maybe junior high, maybe even high school. But somewhere along the way, they just they convinced themselves, oh, I'm not a math person. Well, there's no such thing as someone who's not a math person. There are people who have not yet invested the time and effort to become good at the math. And I think the same thing's true for pretty much any topic. Maybe playing a musical instrument, maybe playing the game of chess. I think it just takes a lot of time and effort to become a master of something. And if we have the attitude that, oh, I can't learn it, or I already tried that and it didn't work for me, well, that's going to be a self-fulfilling prophecy that we're not going to get good at it.
Yeah. Now, so I'll tell you real quick, kind of like what we're going to do for the next couple minutes. So I said last night I was up late, and Math Dad asked me after I did the post for the notes on Patreon. He said, well, did you have a handout? And I said, no, I'm just too tired. I didn't make a handout. And so then this morning he said, look, I made you a handout. And he made this little great game called Bunch of Grapes, because he knows that it's very satisfying for me when we compile all of the notes that we don't skip a day, that you have day 35 now. And I was like, oh, how nice. So we are going to play Bunch of Grapes, which is a fun little game, in just a minute. But before we do, I want to share 10 pictures from our slideshow, and then we'll play a bunch of grapes, and then we'll do more slideshow and some Q&A. So
sounds good.
Here is, let me share my screen, and we're going to bring up some of the treasure maps that were submitted, because we had some fantastic treasure maps come in.
Oh, I like this. I can tell.
I'm going to make the screen big, and here we go.
Oh, the desert mountains.
Desert mountains.
Whoa,
and
lots of skulls along the way.
Yes, and first skull means it may be soft, but watch your step. A certain fate will come to you in your socks.
Uh-oh.
So you might step in something you don't want to step in. And then there's a little key that, 2 skulls and 3 skulls means something else. We loved this one, Michael. Great job. Oh, no. What did I push?
No, you're still sharing.
I'm still sharing? Oh, good.
Yep. I don't know what you did. Oh, you're at the end. You're at the end instead of the beginning. That's
what's going on. So speaking of failure and not being bothered by mistakes you made, we will go back to the beginning and start over. Here we go. So we have Queen Poppy the guinea pig next to a treasure map. What do you think the guinea pig is going to be finding? My guess is a carrot.
That looks pretty yummy. Yep.
And this one has beautiful artwork, a zombie cave, forbidden forest, the palms. I love it. It looks like a legit treasure map.
It totally does.
I love the pirate on this one.
That's right. Pirates are the ones hiding the treasure.
Ooh. Oh, this is fantastic.
Tiger Mountain, the golden rivers.
And it looks like they even kind of crinkled the paper to give it like that feel of being
Yeah.
a real map. And then maybe kind of used a magnifying glass to sort of get some little holes in there.
Yeah, Eagle Peak.
So it looks
Sliver
weathered.
Lake. Yeah.
Oh, I love it. Beautiful work here. And then here we've got a lot of interesting obstacles.
Poison and mud.
Infested dog rabbits. Oh, I would be afraid of
Acid
infested
Lake.
dog rabbits.
Oh.
Great work, Cataly. And I like the map key down here because, you know, when you're looking at maps, sometimes you can tell what things are, and sometimes you really need a key to tell you, what am I looking at? So we've got rocks, trees, pond, streams, and cave. Very nice. And then the last one, I'm singing a song that I don't know the words.
Woohoo.
Great work, Junior. All right.
Got a little bit of hair in that one.
You do have just a little bit of hair.
If that's me. Yep.
It could be you. It could be.
I just assume any drawing must be made of me.
Speaking of the song, I did want to mention again, we are putting together over the next couple of days, we are compiling submissions because we've had several requests to do Math Dad's song, but as just its own standalone video on YouTube. So if you would like to send your submission in, email it to jenny@science.mom, and then just include a little disclaimer saying, you know, I give permission for this video to be used. And we're going to compile together a little video of people singing the song that gets stuck in everyone's head from all around the world.
It should be fun.
And and one last thing too, our shirts that we ordered through Teespring. I've heard from several people that orders were delayed, and I know that the company has had kind of a tough time just with the closures and things being shut down and the extended shipping delays. If your shirt has not come and you ordered, we actually don't fulfill. We don't make the shirts and we don't send them. So we personally can't do anything, but I still like to know about it. So please let us know and contact the Teespring customer service if your shirt has not come.
That's right. So I've come to the conclusion that there are two types of people: the people that like the song, and then the people that like the song too much. And the problem is you like it too much and it gets stuck in your head, and that's why it makes you think you don't like it. But really, it's people saying they don't like it who like it the most.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's how it works.
I don't know about this.
All right, I'm gonna draw a bunch of grapes up here, and Science Mom, if you can find me 2 different colored markers.
Okay, I will find
that's what I need.
2 different colored markers, maybe. And I did see a couple people on YouTube asking where Science Mom Emily is. She is busy. She's not going to be able to be here today. But because we have Science Mom Liza in YouTube, and also because we just have so many fantastic people in our chat who do a good job of modeling good behavior and just being good about following our guidance with how to be a good member of our chat, I felt like we were just fine with Science Mom Liza handling things today. And now it is time for a bunch of grapes.
That's right.
And you can play this game too, either with the little handout that we made, or you can just draw your own. It doesn't need to be set up any certain way. You can draw it different every single time.
So that's actually one of the coolest things about this game is that it'll be a different board each time you play.
And I couldn't find a blue.
Okay, so we've got red and pink, which are not as, perhaps not as different as
never
one
mind,
would
I
hope.
found green.
All right, good. All right, so we're just gonna do this as a 2-player game, but I don't see why you couldn't do more than 2 players. It should work. So I'm going to claim a grape with a little dot. And
I claim it, grape.
Okay, so Science Mom has claimed her grape. Now the order of play actually reverses. So now you get to go first.
I get to go again.
Now you started here, and we could phrase this any way we want. Maybe this is a little fly, and then the fly has to go to a grape that neighbors the starting grape. So you color it in and then move to a neighboring grape.
And then I have to move to a neighboring grape. And then
No. Just put a dot for this turn so we know where you're at currently.
Gotcha.
All right,
so put a dot.
All right, so puts a dot there. All right, I'm gonna go here.
And we're not coloring
and I'm
in.
no, I gotta color it in.
All right, now I'm gonna go here.
Oh.
And then I color that one in because that's where I just went.
All right. Now, the way that this will end is if we run out of places to go. Well, I'm actually worried that there's not enough places to go down here, so I'm going to head up and color my dot.
All right, I'm going to try and wall you off, so I'm going to go there and then color in my dot.
I think you're going to succeed, too. So
everyone say, go Science Mom!
Oh no, she's gonna block me off. No!
And that means the rest of this grape bunch is mine.
That's
all
right.
mine.
I've been defeated because I have nowhere else I can play. So
Wait, but can't you play here?
no, I can only go from where I'm currently at. So think of it as a little fly moving around the grapes. And yep, I can't claim any of these down here. And actually, neither can Science Mom. Although Science Mom could get all of these if she keeps playing. So she gets the most grapes and declare her the winner. So yeah, you can just draw up your grapes any way you want. Or for that matter, you could play this game using any shapes you wanted as long as you're dividing up the grid into regions with clear borders so it's obvious which ones are touching which other ones. And yeah, you've got this game. So I learned this from a website called Math with Bad Drawings. And yeah, super fun. Yeah, mathwithbaddrawings.com has lots of fun posts where they're exploring mathematical ideas.
So this doesn't look to me like a mathematical idea. It just looks like a bunch of circles and we colored them in. What's the mathematical idea here, Math Dad?
Well, so there are lots of math games where you're trying to claim territory through various choices. But I did do some math. So in my head, you saw when I was here and I had to determine, I can either go up or I can go down. But once I've made that decision, I'm done. My choices are done. And I counted really quickly. I eyeballed and said, there aren't enough spaces down here compared to how many there were up top. So I thought, oh no, if I go down, I'll run out of spaces before Science Mom runs out of spaces. And that was true. But then Science Mom outthought me and said, well, you can come up here if you want, but I'm not going to let you play. And she just blocked off my entire escape route and won the game. So But yeah, so there's counting, there's logic, and you're trying to think ahead. I imagine a 3-player version might get it extra tricky, especially if they gang up on you. So kids play it with your parents. And, sorry, Mom. That was a nice try. Let's play again. Yeah. And yep, so there we go.
And then yesterday we had a math mystery about building a wall in Minecraft.
That's right.
And we'll do the answer to that math mystery.
Okay, so we had a bunch of creepers and skeletons in this cave, and we're like, we've got to wall this off. And the gap happened to be 5 by 2. And we only had 10 blocks in our entire inventory. They're starting to come at us, so we got to quickly block it off. But my question, though, was maybe the more mathematical question that would come from this. How many different ways could we block this off? So we had 8 dirt blocks and 2 that were cobblestones. And yeah, we could pick any 2 blocks and fill them in. And so those represent the 2 cobblestones, and the other 8 would be dirt. Okay, so I don't know, maybe let me know in the chat, were you able to come up with the actual number? So okay, actually get caught up in the chat. So how many? Many ways of answering this question. One way would literally be to try to draw all of them. All right, so I'm seeing some people in the chat came up with 20 ways of choosing their 2 blocks that would be the cobblestone blocks. Okay, so 20 seems to be a popular answer. Turns out 20 is not the right answer, though. So are there more ways? Yes. Basically, what we have here is this handshake problem. How many ways can I identify 2 blocks out of 10 blocks? So I could think of that as I just take my numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So that would correspond to the numbers here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And the question is, well, how many pairs can we choose? Well, that would be like asking how many different lines could we draw between numbers? So there were 9 lines that I could draw starting at 1. But now from 2, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 lines. From 3, now they're not counting the lines we've already drawn, there would be 7 lines.
So because that 3 is already connected to the 1 and the 2.
Yeah, I don't want to recount
So-
those lines. I just want to count them once.
Once. So every time you go around, you have 1 less.
That's exactly what's happening. Each time we get 1. So what we're really seeing here is 9 plus 8 plus 7 plus 6 plus 5 plus 4 plus 3 plus 2 plus 1. 45. There are actually
Wow.
45 pairs. And we could have done the same thing here. We could have started and said, all right, how many could have gone with this upper left block? Well, it turns out there were 9 choices.
There are 9 different places where you could have put the other
Where
cobblestone.
we could put the other cobblestone. All right. Well, then suppose it's not the upper left block. Suppose it's the upper right block, but not this one. Well, how many choices are there then? There are
8.
8 blocks. So 9 plus 8. And then this same reasoning would go all the way down.
Ah.
But the cool thing is, we've actually seen a variation on this problem already. So it was about a month ago. Crazy how time flies. But in a previous episode, we talked about the number of different ways that you could rearrange the letters in your name, but it had to be the number of distinguishable ways. So suppose I had the word A,
You should do HH because then it's like, ah.
That would have been good.
You can still do it.
Oh, you at the end. Yeah. All right, science mom. Okay. How many ways can we rearrange the letters in this word that are distinguishable from each other? So if I swap 2 A's, well, that's not really a new word. We don't want to count that. So this is the same question because the locations of the H's would correspond to the locations of those cobblestone blocks, and the A's would be the dirt blocks. So if we can figure out how many ways we could rearrange these letters, we would have the answer to the same question. We've talked about this before, how in mathematics, often what you do is take a question, you reframe it in different language, and then use that language to help you understand and get insights into this question. All right, so what was our secret for actually finding the total number of ways to rearrange this? Well, what we said we would do is we would take the number of ways that you could pick the first one, plus the number of ways that you could do the next one. So that was 10 times 9 times 8 times 7 times 6 times 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1, running out of space. But then we had to divide by the number of ways we double counted. So all these A's here, well, how many ways can we rearrange 8 A's? Well, there are 8 times 7 times 6 times 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. But also, how many ways could we rearrange the 2 H's? Well, that would be 2 times 1 ways. So this huge fraction, but the cool thing is everything cancels, almost everything. All these numbers down here are going to cancel with these numbers up here. So on top, you just have 10 times 9. And then on bottom, you still have this divided by 2. Well, 10 times 9 is 90. Divided by 2, that actually is 45, which is the answer we claimed would work out. So
That's pretty cool.
amazingly, this question here, how many ways you could rearrange certain letters, was the same question in disguise as this Minecraft door question. And there's some other ways that we could reframe it that we're going to get to in coming weeks.
So this type of math that you just did is called combinatorics?
Combinatorics, that's exactly what this is. Combinatorics is the mathematics of counting things.
And what type of cool stuff can you do with combinatorics? Just give us maybe a couple examples.
Yeah, so cryptography, for example. Code breaking.
Ooh.
Code breaking is a branch of mathematics that is highly
All about.
related to the combinatorics. You're counting things, you're actually designing the codes, trying to figure out how and why they work. It ties in nicely with algebra and some abstract algebra, which we're also going to get to. We're going to do some clock arithmetic, and yeah, there'll be some fun questions, including one submitted by a viewer coming up.
Awesome. All right. Oh, there's no fact or fiction today because it is Friday. And also we have no drawing prompt or engineering prompt over the weekend because after several weeks of doing our quarantine show, I thought, you know what, I really want to give Science Mom Liza and Science Mom Krista, I want to give them the weekend off to have a break in between because we'll be able to do this longer if we have those little breaks of the weekend. But we do have an art showcase, and I also did want to do just a real quick Q&A at the end. So let's look at the rest of the fantastic treasure maps that came in, and then we'll do just a little quick Q&A.
We gotta say, the treasure map prompt was a really cool one.
That was a lot of fun.
I like what we're seeing here.
And we do have Painting with a Scientist today as well.
Okay.
A bookalicious pirate.
Oh,
I like
a
it.
dragon is guarding the books. The books are the treasure.
Oh, this is my type of treasure
Dark
map.
forest.
Nice
Good job,
work.
Emily.
And
Noah.
a lava peak and ice igloos.
Oh,
Very nice.
interesting combination there.
Great work.
Ooh,
Oh,
Lydia likes the song. And the treasure is the words to that song because nobody knows them. That's really clever.
that is
Very
funny.
nice, Lydia. Amelia, woohoo, she likes the song too. Oh, a snake pit.
Ooh.
Man, these are no easy treasures to get to.
And then we've got a cat island and a magic cat. Nice. Sun cat and a moon cat. I like it.
Cats galore.
Nighttime and dungeon. Very nice treasure map. Great work.
Gold, yeah.
Oh, I like this path here. We've got volcanoes and mountains and forests.
Very nice.
This looks like an epic adventure.
Yeah, dragons.
A leprechaun volcano. Magical waterfall. Oh, and I love that like each little portal you get to, you've got math questions to answer, and then you've got to sing the song before you get the treasure.
Oh man, Rashab, very clever.
Beautiful work here, Brooke. I love the rainbow treasure.
Mm-hmm.
Based on a book I made up. And stop singing the song.
Oh, I think that means Maggie just likes it so much that it's been a little too much. So.
Good job, Maggie.
What is a pirate's favorite letter? Science mom.
R.
R. No. I it is.
Oh, I. Either one works. I love the bridges from island to island in this one.
Very nice, Renata.
Beautiful artwork.
Is that $100 million?
I think it was.
That's a good treasure right there. Acid Mountain.
Whoa, that would be terrifying in real life.
Sharks out there.
And also very exciting.
Yeah, good luck is right.
Great work, Lincoln.
An acid iceberg. Mario.
Wonderful colors. I love the ocean. And look, there's an octopus there.
Yeah, I gotta defeat the octopus to get to the treasure.
Very nice.
Ooh, hostile mix.
Oh, and there's a siren and a dragon.
Ooh.
And agrees with science, Mom. The song doesn't get stuck in her head, though. So, aha, your logic is foiled.
Well, it's possible someone somewhere doesn't like it.
Great work here.
Not everyone can appreciate the truly great art.
Oh, that treasure's buried a Googleplex miles underground. So deep, you'll never get there.
Man, that's mean.
I love the compass and the key on this map.
Yeah, you gotta go across the lake.
And you need to start in Albany, New York, too. Very nice.
Ooh, Gwyneth.
Great job.
A never-ending volcano.
Ooh. And I love the edges of the map being all torn and weathered.
Yeah,
it's a great touch.
Really clever.
Oh, this pirate looks so happy and friendly. I love it.
Rico.
Yeah, great work, Rico. Ooh, this map was weathered. Look, they cut the edges and then like splattered water on it. It looks really legit. I like it.
Crab Island, Deathwater, Face Island. Oh, it looks like a face.
It totally does.
Captain Jacken.
Great work. And then nice work here, Sarah. I love the rhyming clues. Somewhere hot and something cold. Things I have are very old. Go forward, your path awaits, but beware, leave no traits. Isn't that great?
That is really fun. That's a big map too.
That is a big map.
And not an easy treasure there, Sarah.
And here's the great one that we started with.
Oh, Michael, I
nice
like it.
Work, Michael. And now, push on that button again. Here we are. So we are doing Painting with a Scientist. I'll be back in about 10 minutes with that. And I also have and our topic is sea anemones. I also have a very quick question for our regular viewers. The last couple of weeks, I've been trying to figure out why it is that it seems like a lot of our math and science educational videos are being blocked by certain people's Chromebooks. So I'm curious, if you have a school Chromebook that has filters on it, is this what you're seeing too? Because on my kids' Chromebooks, the educational live streams that we've done in the past 3 weeks, only 3 of the Painting with a Scientist episodes are making it through. And I'm trying to figure out why. It's very curious to me. So far,
because the settings on our end seem to be identical.
The settings are identical. The content is very similar. They're both live streamed. It is a mystery to us. I'd be really happy to find out that our son's Chromebook is an exception and most people's filters are not this extreme. But more than that, yeah, more so, what I would like is to be able to figure out what it is that is causing the difference. So if you have time to maybe just drop a comment or let us know if you do have a school Chromebook, what you're seeing and what videos are coming through and what videos are not. I'm curious to just try and puzzle that out and see if we can fix it.
So I hope you guys will try out our bunch of grapes game.
King Crab says on their Chromebooks, all of YouTube is blocked.
Well, okay.
So yeah. So in that case, everything would be blocked. But yeah,
all right.
Curious. All right.
So we were super glad to have Raven the Science Maven with us today. I hope you guys will check out her channel. And yeah, hope you'll have a fun, productive weekend. Don't drive your parents crazy. Parents, don't drive your kids crazy. And
that's very helpful advice, Math Dad.
Yeah.
And I did see someone ask real quick, why or how do you submit art drawings? You can post them to Instagram and tag @thesciencemom, or you can post them on Facebook. We always have the pinned post at the top of the page is where you submit your art, or you can email it to art@science.mom. Those are the 3 ways you can share it. And we will have art prompts again this coming Monday.
And one of the best things you can do to support us is to actually go in and vote, like things, and comment on people's art. Yeah.
Engagement really does help. So anytime I post on Facebook or social media, if you comment or engage with that post, that's a huge help. All right. We'll be back in about 10 minutes with Painting with the Scientist. Thanks, you guys.
Bye.